Emma is a meek and uncomplaining girl whose life is steadily going downhill. One day she loses her job and her home. To make things better, she agrees to a 2-week expedition to a cannabis plantation, where a group of girls will have to trim freshly harvested bunches of cannabis for further processing. The place is run by a steely lady named Mona, who demands strict discipline, but one of the girls steals the owner's stash, which triggers the spring of eerie events. For Ariel Vida, the director of the horror film Trim Season, this is not her first feature-length project as a director, but Vida began her journey in cinema from a slightly different angle, as an artist, and in an emphatically auteur-driven genre film. Thus, she worked with Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead on their projects The Endless, Synchronic and Something in the Dirt, as well as came up with the visual style of the arthouse phantasmagoria She Dies Tomorrow, which Benson and Moorhead produced. But creating under the guidance of flamboyant visionaries like Benson and Moorhead, who were perfectly fine before Vida joined their creative team, is not the same as creating something of your own, and Trim Season shows that Vida still has a long way to go as a filmmaker. And perhaps not in this genre. The movie starts off promisingly enough. Following a graphic and bloody prologue, the authors confidently introduce their protagonist, pile her with problems and lead her to the decision to go to the plantation in the company of interesting heroines. Among them are a rebel girl with unshaven armpits and no boundaries, a girl with a rare disease that makes her feel no pain, a transgender person who is addressed as them, and Emma's best friend, warm and caring Juliette, played by Alexandra Essoe, the unfading queen of indie horror. Quite impressive is Mona as well, a regal villain, played by Jane Badler, remembered by many for her role as the leader of aliens in the miniseries V back in the 80s. 40 years have passed since then, but Badler in her 70s is still great and, by the way, served as one of the producers of Trim Season. The plot of the movie revolves around the harvesting and processing of cannabis, and there is a lot of smoking here, but for some reason there is no general basis for all this. The authors had every chance to wrap some secret layer in the parchment of this story, but there is no second bottom in Trim Season. And from the moment the blood starts pouring, Trim Season begins to disappoint, because the cast of heroines, the chosen setting, and the declared themes promised something much more than the exhausted haphazard running through the night forest with axes and knives out. As a director, Vida doesn't feel and it seems doesn't understand the genre at all, and just blindly copies what others do in horror movies. But a movie making is such a thing, where you can't do without love. You can't hide indifference and mechanistic nature, and Trim Season from a certain moment becomes empty, like a dead man's eyes.